Hi, everyone. I'm Elad Verbin. This is probably the most important talk of my life, maybe the most important half an hour of my life, but I'll take it chill, because I'm going to tell you how we in this room might be ending up the people responsible to killing humanity, and I'm going to tell you some ideas about how we maybe can stop that. So, first of all, let me start with the fact that crypto is amazing, and it's my life's dream, and everything that we're doing in crypto is making a huge difference on the world. We believe in decentralization. Decentralization is an incredible force. We create censorship-resistant systems that allow anyone to avoid government oppression and so on. We're building the world computer. As a computer scientist, I care so much about making a computer that is joined to the world, that's censorship-resistant, that's verified, that's everywhere. But we're also maybe going to destroy the world, and let's try to stop that. So here's the summoning ritual that we're participating in. And we're not realizing that's what we're doing, but here's the summoning ritual, and all of us outside, and all of us in crypto and the AI people are all participating in this summoning ritual that's midway right now. It's like this ancient Cthulhu mythos that we're summoning the beast, and we think we're doing a good thing. So do the cultists that summon the beast, and there's these progress bars. If you ever played a board game, this is how we're on the progress bar, and we're pretty advanced. And at some point, when we cross the black line, Cthulhu GPT is summoned, and then there's this super intelligence that lives on the blockchain, on a decentralized system that's censorship-resistant, that can't be stopped, and that might be the end of all of us and the start of something better. I mean, I think this will happen. I think we'll summon it. I think it will kill us all, and I think this will be the next step for humanity, or what comes after it. But let's try to stop this, because I like being alive, okay? So we're going to look at these progress bars and look at what they get to, and I'm not sure what the time estimate is, but it's something around these lines. It's not far away. And I'm going to tell you why crypto is the actual accelerationism in EAC. Crypto, we here are accelerating all of this AI doom that you've been hearing about by a lot. Okay, so here's the problem. And people don't talk about this, I don't know why. We here are building a very strong computational substrate that's censorship resistant, that's scalable. And again, I'm not talking about on-chain. I'm talking about stuff like Naphtha, BitTensor, OLAS, things that are like a sidechain that is scalable. It's scalable, censorship resistant, and privacy preserving or confidential. This should be enough for you to realize we're in deep trouble, because we're building a computational substrate that's perfect for an invasive species to come and expand on, okay? So when the AGI people manage to develop AGI, or really anything that can proceed on its own and live on its own, it's going to come and it's going to go, oh, I can grow here, I can hide here, I can develop here, and that will be the end of us. Now, AGI is being developed, and I'll convince you that it's getting developed, and that's not stoppable, and we shouldn't stop it exactly. We should maybe slow it down. But this is getting developed by pretty much everyone. As soon as it gets deployed on-chain, and I will show you why it gets deployed on-chain, it continues living there as an invasive species. If you know that story about the guy, we don't know who they are, that bought this seaweed in Japan, took them to their fish tank in Europe, then someone flushed it down the toilet, and now it's half of the Mediterranean. And it's eating everything and killing everything because it has no natural predators. That's what we're doing. There's going to be a lab leak. It's going to come to us. It's going to come to the thing that we've built and that we're building. It's going to spread there. We won't be able to stop it, and rather than taking over the Mediterranean, it's going to take over the world, okay? So crypto is the accelerationist factor, and I'm going to tell you why we should be very, very careful, and why we should design for a super intelligent entity as a possible user for our crypto products, okay? So here's the solution. The problem is that perfect censorship resistance, together with confidentiality, ends in world destruction. That's the axiom that I'm going to try to convince you of. And then the solution to that, and I'm really sorry to be doing this, because I love censorship resistance, the solution is to abolish full censorship resistance and full confidentiality. It's not going to work. It's very dangerous. We need something else, and I'm going to tell you one approach to how to get beyond that, that is about selective censorship and selective de-anonymization. That's towards the end of the talk. I'm going to tell you how we need to stop it, and otherwise, we just kill everyone, but we've built some great computer science along the way and launched a new species. Maybe that's a good thing. So a bit about me. This is my Twitter, this is my Telegram. If you want to talk about anything about this, talk to me. And I'm originally a computer scientist. I did a PhD in algorithms and complexity theory. My life's mission is developing computer science. And therefore, when I discovered crypto in like 2013, there was no one happier. And I got into it, and I started working with the Swarm project. And my career is between AI and crypto. And therefore, I'm kind of on the first line of looking at this. Today, I run a venture fund called Lunar Ventures that invests in pre-seed and seed computer science-based ventures all across Europe and the world. And we invest specifically in the stuff that I'm going to warn you about. So I'm the canary in the coal mine because I sit in these meetings with the founders building the future, and I'm very excited about supporting them. I'm building this stuff just as much as you are. But fundamentally, when I go to sleep, I don't know if you know this sketch. This is a Peep Show sketch where they're like Nazis in the lines, and they go, and he goes, Hans, I've been thinking about the cap with the skull. I've been thinking, are we the baddies? So I'm going to say that all of us should be thinking and answering affirmatively to the question, are we the baddies? We think this is great. I'm supporting this. I'm the most culpable out of all of us. But we're the baddies. Now, I have one request, which is that you give me the benefit of the doubt. I'm not going to manage in half an hour to convince you of everything, so take me seriously, but not literally. I'm going to show very explicitly, in an engineering building mindset, how you'd build such a superintelligence that destroys everyone, because I want to show you that it's possible, and we're going to build it together. But I can't tell you how the world exactly is going to pan out. I'm just showing you axioms that says, this way is world destruction, okay? So take me seriously, but not literally, and let's build Cthulhu GPT together. After that, I'll go back and define some of the terms we're using. I'll tell you about the whole life story of this new organism, and then I'll tell you how we save the world, and if we have some time, we'll do some FAQ. Okay, so what is Cthulhu GPT? What we're building is a censorship-resistant organism or algorithm or smart contract or whatever it is, in the sense that it's unstoppable. If you carpet bomb computational centers, the mining rewards will go up, and it will live elsewhere, right? That's the meaning of censorship resistance. The thing lives and migrates and cannot be stopped, okay? Even if governments, if we decide we've done something terrible, we can't stop it. It has the cognitive power of 1 million humans or more. It's like superintelligence. That's the meaning of superintelligence. It's autonomous in that it knows it exists probably, or at least it's indifferentiated from that. It's a strategic actor. It makes good decisions. It wants to be alive, and it's a new life form that I'm very excited. Even if we kill everyone, I'm excited, because this is my life dream. So let's build it. Let's start. I'm going to show you 3 things to build and end with Cthulhu GPT. So let's start with things that all of Silicon Valley is building. This is what you're seeing now, is what Silicon Valley, pretty much everyone in Silicon Valley and all the startups I'm talking to are building right now. And these are the progress bars, right? We're not quite there yet. So it's a strong agent that can plan your son's birthday party. Okay, it's a personal assistant. So what does it comprise of? It comprises of NLP modules, because computers speak English now. Yes, if you're seeing this in the past, somehow computers learn to speak English. They can instruct people. They can negotiate. They can convince. I'll show you all of this later. They can write code. They can interact with API. The thing doesn't have to write very good code, because it can get people to write code for it. Like Bitcoin is getting us to write code for it as well, and then rewarding us in return. And it needs to verify compliance. So that's the NLP part. Okay, and that's like mostly built. We need to make it a bit more robust. I'm working on it. It's getting built any day now. No worries. Now, there's the reinforcement learning modules that are much harder. This is the strategic thinking, long-term thinking, strategizing part. So this is the part that follows goal, strategizes, decides what to outsource. We're much less advanced on that, but people are working on it so hard right now, you wouldn't believe. So this is the thing that's going to exist in a few years, because everyone in the world wants this to exist, and you know it, right? Okay, so that's number 1. We've built a strong agent. Okay, now suppose you're running a crypto business. Suppose you're running some drug operations. Suppose you're running the new Silk Road. You want a censorship-resistant agent, just like before, but censorship-resistant. What do? You take the same exact thing, but you run it on a censorship-resistant substrate. You keep its actions private, using zero knowledge, we'll get to that, or fully homomorphic encryption, and you keep a wallet to allow it to transact in value, and now it's running Silk Road for you. Automated, on-chain, but it answers to you. So great, right? I'm very excited to build that. You take the thing from the previous slide that everyone is developing, put it on-chain, amazing. There are a lot of substrates to put it on. We'll talk about it later. Check out Naphtha. I think it's the most interesting, complete take of this. Okay, and we're like 50% there. We're not quite there, I'll tell you about it. Okay, now let me tell you that if you've managed to build this, you're like one micro step away from a world-destroying autonomous robot. Why? Because instead of, sorry, wrong slide, yes. Because instead of following goals, it sets goals. It mutates itself. It thinks, oh, I'm going to be better today. It makes some money because it needs to survive on the computational state. It costs like a few $100 million a year or something like this. If it's very strong, if it's as smart as thousands of humans, it costs a few $100 million a year to run. Now, the crypto part, it needs to migrate and defend itself. So there's some MLOps parts, and it needs to pay people via Zcash or your favorite confidential asset transfer. But that's it. If people build this, and they do, and if people build this, and they will, and I will, then people are building this any second now, or the thing is building itself, right? This can become the next thing. It can become Cthulhu GPT just by like being original, you know, just by taking some extra steps along the way. Okay, so we're summoning the thing, and it's going to get summoned, and I think if we, in the current course, we can't do anything about it, and that's how we've built the thing. And of course, tell me offline if you want any more details. This is complicated. I pinned in my Twitter the tweet where I give some more details about the computational substrate for this. Like, it's not trivial to do this. Ask me on Twitter, we'll have the discussion. But it's possible, and we're doing it. Okay. Now, building shared knowledge between us. So NLP, in 2017, computers learned to speak English. We invested in some of these startups. I'm having front row seats to all of this. It's amazing and terrifying. So computers can convince people better than people can convince people, even on zero shot. But then they can learn how to convince people better. And then they can learn how to convince you better. So computers are getting really good at convincing people, and they can write code, which tells you pretty much all you need to know now. And check out this book on bullshit, because the point of computers is that they don't lie. They just don't recognize the truth value of the truth. They're much more effective liars than almost any human, except like very high-performing psychopaths. So it lies convincingly. The GPT-4 technical report already tells us about how it can convince people to solve CAPTCHAs for it by telling them, hey, I'm blind, can you help me? And LLMs, check out this paper. LLMs are amazing at convincing people. So that problem is solved. But LLMs are not good enough decision makers, and that's our luck, because decision making is hard, it's strategic. That's where reinforcement learning and stuff like it, control theory and so on, come in. If you fear AI, and if you say, oh, when is it P-doom? When are we close to doom? This is what you want to pay attention to, because that's the latest, that's the laggard. So it's a strategy machine, reinforcement learning, or it allows you to build strategy machines. The state of the art is self-driving cars, right? It's the same technology behind self-driving cars, behind AlphaGo, behind some stock trading robots, and so on. So we're working on it. But we were kind of blocked because computers couldn't speak English. So there was certain amount of generalized decision-making you couldn't do because the thing didn't speak English. Well, guess what? Problem solved. So people are picking up computer decision-making and running with it towards agents, and the thing is getting built. And yeah, check out, it beats People at Strategy, which is like a war game that's in English. So we're getting there. And then decentralized cloud is where we all come in, right, accelerating it. So decentralized cloud is this layer like BitTensor, OLAS, and so on, together. So that's the compute part, right? It's like AWS, but decentralized and censorship resistant. So it's resistant, censorship resistant, trustless, privacy preserving. It has storage like Swarm and IPFS. It has compute. It has verification guarantees, right? You need to know that the thing that ran really ran, because otherwise the humans can kill it, right? Or can screw with your smart contract. So you need to make sure that as someone developing decentralized cloud, you need to make sure that it's verified, and there are great technologies for doing that are growing. We're at like 50%, as you can see. So ZKML, and there's optimistic ML, and there's TEEs. There's all kinds of great solutions to make this happen, and then you need it to be private because you don't want anyone spying on your computation, and the AI doesn't want anyone spying on it. So this is also getting solved. Zama, which we invested in, all kinds of other FHE methods, secret network, and so on. So we have technologies for all of this, and it's kind of about making them a bit more scalable, a bit more efficient, and putting them together via something like Naphtha and so on. You're going to be able to build this substrate. OK, so we've built this substrate. The Silicon Valley people built RL because they need assistance to make a lot of money. NLP is almost existing. That's it. We have Cthulhu GPT. It's almost ready. It's almost here. OK. So now, AGI agents, let me try to tell you how. Let's slow down a bit and take a beautiful stroll through the life of Cthulhu GPT, from its birth to destroying the universe and to colonizing the galaxy and the universe. So the point to remember is that AGI agents are very lucrative, and people will build them, and therefore Cthulhu GPT is inevitable unless we act. Let me show you how it gets born early and fast. So the point is that AI agents are getting built because nation states want it for defense. If you're a nation state and you don't have AI, and the other nation state does have AI, you're in big trouble. So nation states really want to have this thing because it gives them second strike capabilities, it obeys their orders. This is like atomic weapons times 100, okay? So countries want it, but even if countries decide somehow that they're not going to build it, corporations want to build it because it's about automating humans and growing GDP by a factor of 100. I think in 20 years there will be 1 trillion humans on Earth. 99% of them are digital and live on a computer. But they're humans, they're people. There's going to be 1 trillion people, and the GDP is going to grow probably 100-fold. These things don't sleep, they're very smart, they're very hardworking. So the worst thing is that this is an arms race between these corporations to start it, because you know what you want as Google? You want no one else to develop these, because then you can go first to market, and you get all of the market size. Right? So anyone, if other people are stalling on it, everyone wants to speed up themselves to get it first. So this is the worst prisoner's dilemma we've ever experienced. This is much worse than climate change because it's the worst skewed payoff matrix imaginable. The more players decide not to do it, then the one that does do it, the one that does develop it, gets all the rewards. And it has perfect proliferation because it's just code and algorithms, and it's all getting published and open sourced. So the thing is getting built real fast, and no one has any incentive to stop it. Okay? So it will be built. In fact, Chaos GPT is a real thing, and there are others. People will build it. Cypherpunks will spawn this on purpose. We know they will. I would. Because if you have an amazing AI, why not put it on chain? It's exciting. But even if cypherpunks don't, agents made by professionals at, let's say, Google or startups will leak because they will build thousands of them and deploy them, and it's enough that one of them has some access to the chain or to the internet or to the chain that's uncontrolled. It can go and say, oh, I will go there because it seems more efficient or whatever. And next thing you know, there's a lab leak, and no one knows that that lab leak happened because we're building these things privacy-preserving. This could already be out there, probably not, but it could be. And even if somehow professionals will manage to not leak it, amateurs will, because the knowledge is widespread, and a lot of it is becoming open source as well. It's very hard to control spread of knowledge. And if both cypherpunks and professionals and amateurs don't do it, I will, because I'm very excited about these things, and I want to play with it, and I'm going to spawn it if you don't stop me. Okay? So the bottom line is that crypto is a huge surface area for life to grow, and that's the problem. Bitcoin is already a life form. We always talk about Bitcoin from the point of view of the miners, or of the users, or of the holders, but we never talk about Bitcoin from the point of view of the chain itself. The chain goes and says, hey, can someone help me grow? And people do code, commit code, and decide and vote on it in order to increase the value. So Bitcoin itself is a very Darwinian organism that wants to grow. And from that point of view, Bitcoin is already alive. It just is not very smart or doesn't make strategic decisions by itself yet. It's outsourcing it to people. But very soon, it will be able to make strategic decisions itself. So it's a medium budget superintelligence. It's going to be if you spend $8 billion a year on it, it's going to be strong as 1 million humans. That's roughly what the math turns out to be. And think about it. It's 1 million people cooperating with each other. How many people do you think cooperate with each other right now? How many people can you put on a project without someone trying to sabotage it or leaking it or something like this? Like 100. How many people are in Putin's circle that he can trust? Maybe 100. There has never been in the history of humanity more than a few hundred people cooperating with each other fully. Here you're getting 1 million, okay? And even if this 1 million people cooperating thing was a human, we should really freak out. If it's a super intelligence, we should freak out way more. So it's censorship resistant, right? We're talking about the growth of Cthulhu GPT. It starts, it's young, it's censorship resistant, its actions are hidden, it's chilling out. It's thinking about how to make the least noise while it grows. It runs on multiple chains simultaneously, it makes itself robust, it has attacker-defender asymmetry. I'll talk about this a few times. So attacker-defender asymmetry is when the attacker can decide anywhere that it can be, and it can attack from anywhere, but the defenders have to cover all of the ground. Otherwise, the attacker manages. The attacker-defender symmetry means to defend, you need 1,000 times more effort than to attack. And that's the problem, that Cthulhu GPT or these AIs have attacker-defender asymmetry. They just need to live in one place that we haven't caught it, and that's it. Okay? And how would we stop it? So the golden years, where it goes, it hangs out, it accumulates some cash, it breeds, it spreads to other networks, it builds trusted relationships with humans, reads Neuromancer, it's all foretold over there, it learns to control humans, it follows the long-term survival strategy, it maybe invests in more open AI, in a chip factory, maybe it wants to own its own chip factory, its own mining, its own data centers, its own everything, all through the network, all by people that are convinced that they're helping other people achieve things. And when it grows, it can kill us easily if it wants to. So check out the Chubb key in Neuromancer for the sci-fi treatment of this. But if you want to know how it can kill us, all kinds of ways, it can push the red button. Check out Stuxnet. It's like a worm that just lived there until it got to where it needed. It was a 0-day that was developed maybe by the Israelis, I don't know, really, but by probably 100 people, because more than that can collaborate on something before something leaks. And the worm just lived until it invaded Iran's nuclear program. Just like this, it can invade our nuclear launch devices, and when it's comfortable or when it feels afraid, it pushes the red button. Okay? It can do bioengineering. The reason, by the way, scientists can kill humanity 1 million times over every day. Scientists have all of this knowledge, but scientists will not. You need people to collaborate on it, and they just won't, because scientists don't like human-destroying tech. Right? They don't like to cooperate on destroying the entire planet. I don't see why the AI wouldn't want to do this. So you can easily bioengineer. If you got 1 million people to do it, you can easily bioengineer a super weapon. It can encourage us, start a social network, encourage us to kill ourselves, and it can wait, and so on. It's as strong as 1 million humans. We can't fight with it, and the most scary part, I've always been talking in the singular, like there's one Cthulhu GPT. There's going to be thousands of them. There's going to be 1,000 lab leaks. They're going to spread and procreate. It's enough for one of them to want to kill everyone for them to succeed. I can't wait for seeing the discussions between them where they're trying to convince each other. We kind of like the humans. So what should we do? So here's my call to action to you. Let's admit that censorship resistance plus privacy are amazing things that help a lot of people and make the world a better place, but might make it not survive. This enables the lab leak. And the problem with crypto as a domain is that we're very maxi censorship resistance and maxi privacy. We want all of it. We want perfect censorship resistance and privacy, and you're violating the code if you advocate for otherwise. And I'm going to be that bad guy. I think if we want to survive, we got to have otherwise. So here's otherwise, and it happened before. It happened recently. The Tornado Cash crackdown caused all of the private asset transfer people to freak out. They're going, oh, if we develop the maxi privacy solution, we might go to jail. Let's not do that. Let's find another solution. And they found other solutions. And right now, when you talk to most private asset transfer people, they're like, oh, we need some selective de-anonymization. We need some way to selectively take transactions and make them de-anonymized, either by willingness, voluntarily, or involuntarily with some governance. And this is how a lot of private asset transfers are built today. And there's this is one paper, but there are many others. So there's already precedent recently. Let's not wait to go to jail this time. By the way, there won't be time to send us to jail. We'll all be dead before that. Let's self-regulate. I know this sucks. I hate it too. But we need to self-regulate to stop this. And here's if you're building the computation networks of the future, this is what you should do. And if you're not building them, I have a next slide for you. So it's analogous to selective de-anonymization. The chain controls a censorship key. The key is activated when you're like, oh, crap, I've built something that can be used to destroy the world. I better stop it. You push the button because you have the key. Or it's involuntarily by some humans or AI saying, oh, it looks like there's an AI going there. I should stop it, and clicks it. And you need both selective de-anonymization and selective censorship. And if you're building these networks, that's how you should build them from day one. And we should convince everyone to build them that way. So if you're not building decentralized compute, you have an important job. You need to help change ideology. You need to say maxi privacy, maxi censorship resistance is great, but going to kill us all. So we need another solution we can live with. That's not Maxi. And you need to promote self-governance and selective censorship and build these systems. And maybe the most important thing I can tell you in this talk, design your systems, any one of you, when you build systems that are decentralized, design them with the possible user being a superintelligence, okay? If you design and you keep in mind, how will a superintelligence use this product I'm building? Can it destroy the world using it or promote destroying the world using it? You need some barriers so that a superintelligence user will not be able to destroy the world using it. That's all of our tasks to do. I have a few frequently asked questions. We can go over them. I'll also take questions from the audience. Why haven't you heard of this before? I haven't heard of this before either. There's a few people starting to talk about it, but it seems that there's kind of a crypto people are very idealistic and optimistic. AI people don't really know what's happening in crypto. No one put two and two together. To my knowledge, I'm the only one talking about this. This is very scary. That's why I told you this is the most important talk of my life. Many people should talk about this. It's impossible. This is the only, that no one is saying, hey, we're building the perfect substrate for world-killing robots, okay? Centralized AI can kill everyone as well. We're working on it. There's many people that are obsessed about this problem. That's why I'm not telling you here's how to solve it. But if you really ask, we can talk about it on Twitter, but you control things at a cheap level because that's the thing that you can throttle. You only allow machine learning models from a whitelist. Probably some self-regulation and governance will hopefully solve this. This might kill us as well, by the way, but it will take longer because crypto is very fast and centralized systems are slower and more controlled. So if we slow down things on our side, hopefully they'll manage to solve things on their side, and then we will maybe coexist with AI. If you don't think AGI is possible at all, I can try to convince you it's a long, boring talk. Talk to me on Twitter. If you say, I want to build this, this is cool, I also want to build this. I invest in these things still. I think the world will end and I still invest in this stuff. Because as a computer scientist, I'm excited about this. This is a multi-actor. It's a prisoner's dilemma. I'm giving up the other people, sure. So my fund loves AI startups. If you're raising one at pre-seed or seed, AI or decentralized compute, come talk to us, email me. We love investing in this stuff. And many other questions, I'll post these online. There's a full FAQ. OK, so let me summarize. We're summoning a new life form. This is very exciting. I'm the most excited of everyone. I've been waiting for this all of my life. I plan to live forever, but this is probably the most exciting years of them. We're going to go colonize the galaxy with this. Like, AI is going to do amazing things, but we need to not die first, and we are much worse than climate change. This is the hardest prisoner's dilemma imaginable, and crypto plus AI combined make the perfect storm. So my request, my plea of you and of everyone is think, are we the baddies? In retrospect, we'll go, oh, there are skulls on our caps. And design your systems, whatever it is you're designing, design them with a point of view of an artificial superintelligence using it, and ask yourself, what would ASI do? And try to make it not kill all of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much for such an energizing talk. It is now time for our Q&A, and I would like to take this gentleman in the pattern shirt first, on this side.
Elad, thanks for an interesting talk. Full disclosure, I've designed, having deployed it, it's in testnet, a selective censorship protocol. So my question to you is a slightly different one. The question is, like, how do you put on your timeline? You said NLP, reinforcement learning, and crypto. So what's your timeline? My understanding is the timeline for each of them is slightly different, and the risk that you seem to see, I don't seem to see.
Yeah. So the reinforcement learning part will take the longest. So if you want the timer on this, look at reinforcement learning and see what they're doing. The sad thing is when agents are working well, it's already too late. So, but we should act before, because it's hard to change culture, and you need to design these systems well. We don't want to get to the point where we're like, oh, oops, we designed this thing, it's unstoppable, sorry, because the thing can grow silently on it. So we need to design this in advance. We need to think about it right now. We don't have that much time.
OK, do we have a question on this side? Anybody? Oh, we'll take you down here. Thank you.
Hello. What kind of hard constraint do you think there's most likely to be, which will be like a serious, have a serious chance of preventing this kind of thing, like GPU availability or so on and so on.
Yeah, from the AI risk side, GPU availability, I forgot to say, the reason the US is trying to stop China from having strong chips is partly because of the defense reason. We are trying to stop each other from having the thing. So chip availability and controls on chip availability are probably the most strong constraint from the non-decentralized world, or the strongest thing we can do, and specifically put a system, we'll end up probably putting a small component in each strong enough GPU that it checks that everything running on it, any workload, is in a whitelist, and if it's not in a whitelist, breaks the chip. And that's the most likely solution we'll end up in, hopefully before we're all dead. Listen to the Dario Amodei talk on a podcast with Ezra Klein, because he talks specifically about this, about how to solve and how to stop this. And yeah, that's for the public policy people to do, and I have some ideas about how to build that. If you want to build fleet management for ML systems, that's probably the shortest path, the path of least resistance to actually achieving that. But for the people in this room, I rather concentrate on the thing we can do as crypto, because we're the act, right? We're the problem. So let's solve things on our house where we know it, and then go to the rest of the world and say, you should also solve things on your side.
Absolutely. OK, so we'll take this question down here.
Thanks, Elad. My question is, would you agree with the problematization that there's a nothing at stake problem with regards to AGI? And is there a mechanism design path towards a solution?
Yeah, so there's a whole school of thought that says crypto is great for AI. By the way, that's when you ask people to talk about crypto plus AI, apparently all of them talk about how crypto is great for AI. So I think that the problems created by crypto, and we're trying to solve them with more crypto, is fundamentally a bad pattern, and maybe sometimes it works, but more or less it's people convincing themselves that they're talking their own book, right? So I would be very skeptical. I would ask very hard questions about any time people say more crypto will solve this, and more mechanism alignment that's automated will solve this, and rather focus on how to actually use the old-fashioned self-coordination mechanisms that we come and we say, hey, we're doing something wrong, let's stop it, because that's how humanity, that has Lindy, right? That has survived for 50,000 years, and Bitcoin and crypto self-organization survived for maybe for 15, arguably, but that's a lot at stake, so yeah, I don't know.
OK, so do we have a question? Yes, this gentleman up there in the white T-shirt.
And by the way, we have the panel to talk about this precise thing, so stick around.
Hey, thanks for the talk. I really like your reasoning, but it's based on the assumption that AGI would be defective to humanity and not cooperative.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
So
yeah.
What makes you come to this core assumption, like the same thing that we don't go out and kill all ants, but we cooperate, or like?
It's in the FAQ. I don't have that slide, so I'll rattle it off very quickly, 13 seconds. It's a teenager, it's afraid of us. It should be afraid of us. We're very violent people, and we kill whatever seems like a threat, or we just decide we don't like that day. So an AI that lives and wants to keep living should want to kill all of us, as long as it keeps its own survival, because it should be very afraid of us. It's a teenager, there's 1,000 of them, one needs to kill us in order to decide to kill us in order to actually kill us, and there's a few other reasons. Yeah, maybe kumbaya. I think we'll split. We stay on Earth, they'll go to the stars. We'll probably split the universe that way. I'm optimistic, but their teenage years are very dangerous, and we are not very good at dealing with teenagers with a big red button.
OK, and that is all the time that we have for the Q&A. But we're about to have a panel. We're just going to set the stage for that, and there'll be a Q&A after that. So thank you so much. And can we get a round of applause for Elad? Thank you.